I'm doing it now. It's got a link up to it.
Says it's live on there now.
There, oh, there we go.
You good?
You're live.
Okay.
Says it's
So
live.
I'm going to try to follow the format that Kyle
Here,
forwarded
ooh, there
over.
we go.
We good? You there, Jeff?
It says it's live on YouTube on my screen. So
Okay, so we're good? All right, so I guess we're called to order the Parks and Recreation Open Space meeting for September. So I'm following the format that I was provided by Kyle, who I believe got it from Sharon. And so I'll just kind of follow the order that she provided. So we'll start with any public comment. If anyone's out there who wants to make any public comment. No? Okay. So next, we have the approval of the minutes from last meeting. As far as, did anyone have any stuff they wanted to edit or change on those? No? Okay, so we'll approve those minutes. All right, so I don't have that much this time to go through. So I guess I kind of lined it up where with a couple of things that Jennifer was kind of spearheading. One was the pro mission statement. Jennifer, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you want to kind of go over that? Are you cool going over that?
I know we had talked about it the very first meeting, I guess it was a couple months ago. And we had talked about it, and I guess we just wanted to include everything. There was a suggestion from Sharon, which I thought was a really good suggestion. But then when I looked up other mission statements for like other nonprofit organizations, they basically said keep it very, very generic or general and keep it simple and then go from there. So I really just tried to pare down what Sharon had suggested and just made it a little simpler. But I'm by no means, sold on this, but I just thought this was the simplest version.
did anybody reach back to the township? I know I put it out there and I haven't got around to getting up to the township from the prior parks and open space when they were originally established.
We had the one that Sharon had given to us that I thought may have been, reflective of the original one.
Okay.
But just added the more of the Parks and Rec part, and I could read it in. It just said, originally it said to preserve, maintain, and improve the parks, preserves, and open spaces of Franklin Township while also educating citizens regarding the habitat plants and wildlife of open spaces and trails. And I thought it was all good, but I just thought it was more than we really needed,
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think we kind of discussed it a little bit last meeting, Jim, and I think the reason we didn't really go with that was because that one was more, that committee was, I guess, more geared to acquiring open space.
Yeah, no problem. I just, like I said, if we didn't have to recreate the horse across the board,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, what was there and where do we want to go from here?
Yeah, so I just took the other one and just tried to make it simpler. And I guess everything that I read online suggests that the simpler it is, then you can always fit more
Expand
things under it later.
Right.
And you're not being limited by what it is. But I guess my only question was how people felt about my part about saying, and local government cooperation, or is it local government involvement? I mean, really, everything's going through the Board of Supervisors. So, so that, I guess that was my question, but.
Yeah, I mean,
Development, approvals, whatever. It's a combination of.
yeah, I'm fine with the way you worded it. I mean,
Okay.
I guess do you get, should we make a motion to approve our mission statement?
Well, oh, wait, where am I? Oh,
You
I
there?
just, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if we wanted to add in there, like enhance the quality of life or enrich lives or something, because we are trying to get the community to use these parks and preserves and all that. I mean, they're there for the, the residents in the community. So I didn't know if we wanted to add something in like that.
Yeah. I mean, I did think of something similar to like what you're saying is kind of connecting the residents to, our community open spaces and parks. But yeah, something along those lines. I mean, we could add that in there, I would say.
Do you have a suggestion, Kyle, for a spot for it?
Oh, geez. Well, I just figured if you would put it after like open space board to enhance the quality of life by providing, like safe, maintained, parks and preserving the open space.
So if it were to say, it is the mission of the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Board to
Enhance the quality of life.
in an effort to enhance the quality of life, would that work?
Yeah, by
In it-
providing safe, well-maintained parks, or I don't know how you want to put, and preserving open space.
I think if you ended at quality of life would be great.
Just period at the end?
Can you read it again?
So if I were to say, it is the mission of the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Board in an effort to enhance the quality of life of our residents. Hold on, I'm just writing as I'm saying this. Residents by preserving, maintaining, and improving the parks, preserves, and open spaces of Franklin Township through community involvement and local cooperation and local government cooperation.
That's great.
Yeah, that
Let me
sounds
read
good.
it one more time, just to make sure I got all the punctuation, everything. It is the mission of the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Board. And then it'll be another comma, just because this is like part, in an effort to enhance the quality of life of our residents, by preserving, maintaining, and improving the parks, preserves, and open spaces of Franklin Township through community involvement and local government cooperation.
I think that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds
So
great.
I will send that out again to Kyle to include in the minutes so we make sure we have it and you guys just check it for punctuation.
So Jennifer, is it on your screen where you could just share it?
We just made some changes to it, Paul, so I could try to go back in and try to retype it while you guys go on. I don't want to keep you guys stuck on this, but I could type it and maybe share it right at the end and then we could vote on it at the end.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because then we can handle it right now. If you share it
Okay.
on the screen and then you read it into the record and then we vote on it, then it's done.
Okay, I will be nervous if I have to type while you guys are on there, so I'll figure out how to do it. And then can we do it, come back to it again?
Yeah, and
Sure.
I don't know who's managing the Zoom meeting. Is it Jeff or Greg? But do you have it set where people can share their screen?
Jeff?
I can certainly do that.
Yeah.
I've never done it before, but I'm more than
Looks like
happy to do
it
it.
looks like you can. It highlights when I drop on it.
Yeah, I can, it looks like I can ask to be shared on my end, so I'll type it up and then ask to share it in a few minutes.
Okay, great.
And the only issue is I have a Mac, so I just have to make sure, I don't know how it'll transfer over, but,
No,
Okay.
I'm more than happy to share.
okay, all right. I will start typing it up now while you guys move on.
Okay.
Or I guess I'm
Well-
stuck with the next part too.
Yeah, I was gonna give you the next part since you've been
Okay.
working on that.
So I do have that screen up, so I guess maybe we could start by trying to share that first.
Test it.
So if I could ask about sharing, I'm gonna ask to share my screen now. And you're gonna see all my personal stuff too. Can you guys see what's on my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys see the smart sign thing?
Yep.
Okay, so these are the two suggestions. So basically it'd be one sign facing the other way. So when you're coming up on that corner, both the signs would be facing, you know, obviously towards the park, but one would be on one side, one would be on the other side. And this is, can you guys see me? This is not very
Yep.
professional, but this was what it would basically, I don't know, I'm a woman, so I need to see a visual. So this would be about a 6x18 sign. If you guys see like size wise, but I was gonna ask if we could do it on brown and white. I just haven't been able to get a hold of the manufacturer. I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
So what, is this at 896?
This would be at the corner there of 896. And I think Greg and I had talked about it before, that it looked right by the stop sign.
And so I'm gonna, you know, default to Jeff. He's our roadmaster, and Jeff, at whatever the speed limit is, 45 miles an hour on 896, is 2-inch lettering appropriate, or do you want something bigger?
It may have to be a little bigger. And if you don't mind, what I would like to do is I would like to share your information with our sign company.
I would appreciate that. Yeah, I was basically trying to get a comparison.
Oh,
And it-
sure.
Yeah, and so it'd be based on this pricing with, so Jeff, you would know better than I did, but I looked it up and it said low reflective, because obviously we don't need it to be reflective because the park closes at night. So going with the cheaper reflective material, but an anti-fade paint, I guess, material. It looks like it would be about with the sign, and then both, you know, the arrow go, you know, this way, and then on the other side it would go that way. About $150, but I was gonna say if we could ask the supervisors for like 200, you know, with installation. I'm happy to see if my husband and I could try to install it, but I don't know if there was something against us doing it.
Well, if you're in the PennDOT right of way, that makes our lives more difficult with trying to get approvals from them.
Okay,
And then we will need to use reflectivity. That's the federal standard for signs.
so based
And
on
it-
this website, it said that if it just needs to be seen during the day, so this is a sign that does provide a company that provides some federal signs. And it said we could use the lower reflectivity because it only needs to be seen during the day, not in the evening.
I understand what you're saying, but like I said, keep in mind, if it's going to be within the PennDOT right of way, we're gonna have to follow the PennDOT rules.
Okay.
So I'm more than happy to go through and try and get that approval process, but it may not be easy if we're
Jeff,
trying to change things.
let's
Okay.
go out and make sure the location is or is not PennDOT. It might be Franklin, right?
Okay.
The other thing to think about too is who maintains that corner. Because a lot of the places in the township are like farmers come along and cut it. I don't know if that would be a problem or not.
Yeah, so there
One
is a
side is the homeowner maintains it. The other side is a bank that gets whacked sporadically, because I was there on Parsons yesterday looking at it. The other thing, and I like the sign, but would we want to expand it, Crossan Park and Franklin Preserve?
No, I'm just to suggest Crossan Park is the big draw, and too many words are gonna
Muffle up the
Yeah,
sound.
just,
be too much. But I also, Jim, I agree. I like the sign. I like the simplicity. It's
Yeah.
the message. I don't understand how they both point the same way, though.
So,
well,
so when you put the one sign up, it's like, it'll be this way when you want like the way, and then it'll be that way. So you have to buy two different signs.
Right, right.
So when you're driving from from one direction, it'll be facing this way, and then on the other side, it'll be this direction. So you can't see it, but if I go through it, it's like one is like, it's a left facing sign, and one's a right facing sign, but you're sharing the same pole. It's just that you're being able to see it from two ends of the traffic, but the arrows both point towards Crossan Park.
No, I still don't get it.
Okay.
okay, you're going down,
No, but listen.
you're
if
going
it-
north on 896, and the sign's going to point down the road. And if
Yep.
you're coming south, it would point up
if-
Parsons Road.
if you're
No,
going
it's just-
south,
This isn't the right orientation, these two signs here.
Right.
Yeah, for some reason it doesn't show the right orientation here, but one is a left, right, and then the other one's a right facing, but I don't know why it doesn't show it when I. pull
right,
it up.
that was my point, that one
Right.
has to be facing left, one has to be facing right.
Yeah, and so when you go through, it just, really, right, the other side should be facing the other way, but
Yeah.
you pick a left facing sign and a right facing sign.
Correct. All
Okay.
right, you're
Yeah.
on it. You got it.
So
I
yeah, so
think,
it would be this way, and then
What-
the pole would be that way, so.
hey, what is your font size? Is it 2-inch? I was guessing.
So I'm open to all of those things. I guess more I was like, I liked the idea of the sign being an integrated arrow.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that. But
But
what,
I'm open to whatever Jeff wants to suggest.
what is your font size? Because I'm just suggesting we make it bigger and accommodate a 4-inch font.
So they don't go by size, but I could definitely increase it.
Well,
But, and that's as far as it'll go. If on this side sign, I'd have to go up to next bigger sign or put a cross and all on one word.
yeah,
So I could also, you could also change the fonts and make it like that. And
no, you just have to make it a bigger sign.
Okay, bigger sign. Okay.
I would
If-
say like
if-
9 inches. Can you make it 9 inches instead of 6?
Yep. So what I'm saying is you should go for a 4-inch font. And, you know, if 3.5 is all they have, that's fine. It's close enough. But if it's a 6-inch
font.
sign and
we-
you have a border around it and a border between the two letters, you're gonna be at like 2 inches.
Okay, so we should
Yeah,
try for 9-inch sign. Then you're saying, right, Mary, 9-inch by
Yeah.
whatever.
Let-
Jennifer,
24 or something like that.
Is,
Let-
is 9 a standard?
Oh, I
Well,
don't know.
I think Jeff is, if Jeff wants to check with whatever, his company is, like, if you could find something similar to this, Jeff, and meet our needs, that would be great.
Yeah, and they're great, Jennifer. And if you could send me the picture in an email, then I can send it to them, let them expand on it, see if they have other ideas. And again, Paul, I think, was hitting on the right thing. We need to base it on the speed limit on the road too.
Okay.
And
And-
they would be better to tell us that.
Is everybody in agreement that it would look better on brown, white on brown?
What?
yeah, I like brown.
What is typical for parks? Isn't it brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say brown for parks.
I agree.
it-
So,
And they just said I have to call to get those changes. I could change the colors, and I'm okay, Jeff, going with whoever you want to use. I just wanted to have like a basis of price to be able to explain it to everybody. So around 150 to 200 is what we're,
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, Jennifer, I'm more than happy to share information with you and the rest of the pro committee once I get it. That's not a problem.
and I can show you this video. I don't know if the video will come up real quick. This is like the example of what they're saying. So you guys see where it says multi-use trail?
Uh-huh.
You will not believe how
So-
easy it is to custom.
So I don't know that we have to listen to the whole video, but that's that beginning part of that's where I kind of really liked how that sign went, like how it was
Mhm.
multi-use, it was a trail
Brown and
sign.
white with the white border. Yeah, very
Yeah.
high contrast, very visible.
So this is kind of, I think, what you're thinking about, Paul. Yeah, like just a bigger sign with a white background. I mean, with white around the thing that says Crossan Park, but with the integrated arrow.
and I liked it when you had it on 2 levels, two rows.
Okay, with Crossan Park. Okay, I like that too.
We need 2 signs, one for 896 and one for Good Hope.
I agree, Jim, I agree. So that'd
Great.
be 4 signs.
4 signs. Okay,
So Jennifer, that quote you got, was that for the 2 signs?
that was for just 2 signs in the poll. It would be a total. It
So-
would actually really go down to if I did 2 signs, the smaller signs, obviously. I mean, so we're changing the size, but 2 signs and a poll was $153. But I
So-
think, but we'll wait to hear for what Jeff says. Jeff might be able to get a better price, but I think it gives us a comparison. So I think, Jeff, if you could get it to be around 300, that would probably be what we're looking for.
So Jeff has poles by the boatload, so just drop
Okay.
the pole and that'll save you on shipping too, because shipping a pole is more than the value of the pole.
Yeah, so the,
sure.
if 20, if anything over 30 on this company was free shipping.
Yeah, so
We pay for it.
forget the pole, just
Okay.
get the signs, and like Jeff said, high visibility. we went through a big deal in the township to replace all signs with high vis. So I would
Okay.
think this one would need to have that anyway.
Okay, and then they mentioned having, I guess, anti UV fading. But Jeff, I'll send you my email, whatever you just, can find cheaper, but around $300 is what it looks like it'll be.
Yep, we'll work on it and get it done.
Okay,
I like your design.
Yeah, looks good.
and then I guess, how does that, I mean, obviously new to this, get some price from Jeff, I'll compare it on other websites, and then we ask the board for a set amount of money to get it done?
Correct.
Okay. All right,
Actually, Jeff, maybe it would go like this. We would go to the board and say, we would like the road crew, the roadmaster, to purchase this sign for this amount and install it on this corner.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I was gonna ask, so as far as, do we need permission from the homeowner, or are you saying if it's in the right of way, we do not?
If it involves a PennDOT owned right of way, we've got to go through and get their permission. If we can put it within our own right of way, what we always try and do is try not to have something smack in the middle of someone's front yard. So we may move it one way or the other, on a property line or whatever. So, I may, if you want.
I was happy to do it. I feel like I would want to know if it was my property, whether it was
Sure.
the right way or not. Just more because I would want to know what was being done on the corner, but I wanted to have all the information before I went to the homeowner. So I'll work with Jeff and then I'll have a better idea to tell them what it's going to look like.
So-
Absolutely.
So which corner are we talking about? Didn't somebody have a map?
Yeah, this is on the corner of 896 and Parsons.
No, I know, but specifically which corner?
The
South
left,
corner or the north corner?
I'm gonna,
It's the north corner, right? With the one with the big stone well, right?
So
Yes,
the
exactly.
northeast corner.
it's three,
Yeah.
it's 3 Parsons. So the residence number is number 3 there.
Okay,
And there's
Yeah,
a
'cause-
stop, it's where the stop sign is.
yeah,
Yeah, because the other side is it's a big slope and wooded, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
got
hard-
a lot of brush and
It's
stuff,
actually
yeah,
hard to see around it, yeah.
right.
so could I share?
I hope so.
Uh,
I have on multiple participants can share simultaneously, Paul.
Yeah, I just don't know how.
So mine down on my Zoom screen, it said share your screen, and there was like a green thing on the bottom of all the groups. Maybe I think I'm gonna stop sharing, Paul. Maybe 2 people can't share at the same time. I'm gonna hit stop share. Does that help?
What do you guys see?
I see the map.
Okay,
Okay,
Yep,
your
there
map's
you go.
up.
Yep,
All
you're
right,
good.
so here's what we're talking about. And you said you don't want this wooded corner, you want the one with the well over here, right? Everybody oriented? The church graveyard is to the bottom right.
Right,
Yep.
yeah,
All right, now if we do this little dude right here. Whoa, calm down.
Looking south.
So now we're looking south. You don't want
Now
this.
now you're
corner?
looking north now.
yeah,
Turn a
it's
little
on your
bit
right
more.
side there,
It's,
Oh, you're
There
right.
you go.
it's right here, right in this, right.
right under that pine tree there.
Yeah, where that stop sign is, right there.
So Jeff, what's the right of way off of 896? Is it 50 feet or 30 feet?
I believe it's 50 feet, but to be honest, Paul, I'd have to check.
You know what? I think we got a 50-foot right of way, ultimate right of way for the church property,
Great.
but we did not get it for this homeowner. So this might be 33 feet. And then if we put it like right here, we might be out of PennDOT. So,
Yeah,
so,
And it's got to be back a little bit because that's a blind corner anyway.
Mhm.
well, I was gonna say, Jeff, can we put it on this existing pole or that's too much action on one pole?
well, see, you were kind of thinking along the same lines as me, Paul, because that's a U-channel post. I think we could put in a square post.
Yep,
And possibly accomplish the same thing.
just put it below the street sign, but above the stop sign.
Yeah.
You guys see what he's talking about?
So that was
Mhm.
the
Makes sense.
way the post was facing before. I didn't think we could attach to it, but if you change the top of it, we probably could do it.
Yeah, and
So-
just think it'd be a square post and this is a
Okay.
U-channel post. So
Yeah,
that would
so-
work.
4 sides to work with.
Okay,
That works well from northbound, but now if we go southbound, is that gonna work? Let me go southbound now. Now I gotta turn around, right?
Still say it because they can see the post for Parsons Road. So,
Yeah, so it'll be right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So that'd be okay, right? But
Yeah.
I'm okay with this corner for the southbound lines, but I don't know about the northbound. That might be blocked.
you wouldn't be able to see it. When I came from the park the other day, when I was coming down, you don't see that corner when you're coming from, I come from Appleton. You can't see it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's nicely trimmed right now, but I could
It
see.
is, but the other day, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah,
And so I
that's-
just was trying to save on money to have them combined, but it's up to you guys.
Okay, so Jeff, I don't know, is that sign in the PennDOT right of way? I have no idea.
It should be out of it, Paul. And what I'm thinking of, you were reading my mind. I'm just wondering if we could put that on top of the stop sign below the 2 street signs and serve the same purpose.
All right, let's go to the other end of the world there.
And can I just ask a question? So if you guys are talking about increasing the size, it just seems like a very big sign to put on top of the stop sign.
That's true. We'd have to consider that, and maybe we do a little mock-up and walk out there and look at it.
well, it's going to be going the opposite direction of the stop sign. So,
Yes, it's be perpendicular to the
yep.
stop.
So you're just going to see a line when you come up to the stop sign. So,
So maybe
It should-
my white piece of paper is the right size.
Well, you have
Well,
a
let
good point. Because we're only putting it on a single pole, it can't be too long of a sign because then it's not supported properly.
Yeah.
All right,
oh, if the square pole, because it's the square tubular pole that you're talking about, Jeff, with the holes up and down it, that would just have to be maybe a little bit taller to accommodate the extra
Sure.
sign. And
sure.
Correct.
so we're able to distance the stop sign, Crossan
Correct.
Park sign and the street sign.
So let's do the same exercise here, if you don't mind. This is,
Before, may I just ask a question?
yeah,
Sure. So it seems to me as if you're proposing to put the sign for the northbound lane on the far side of the road, which means that if you're alerting northbound drivers, they will hit it after they've passed the road.
correct.
You can miss Parsons Road anyway.
I understand that, but
Give it-
normally I would assume that you would place it in advance of the road where you need to make the turn.
That is a good point, but I do miss it every time.
Yeah,
So you're right, Paul, but then we're definitely in PennDOT right of way and we have to put up a new sign. And I just thought that was more work, but you are right. That would be better signage if we did it like back here,
Somewhere
right?
in advance of the road, yes.
Yeah.
And now I'll said my piece, I'll mute myself.
No, he's absolutely right.
He is right, yeah.
And-
I
and
agree.
then-
I don't come from that direction, so I'm sorry I didn't consider it as much.
And that, in that same line of thought, the southbound line should be ahead of the intersection. I'm gonna turn around and get really confused here. Now we're heading southbound. I don't know if my thing is keeping up, and it should be like right on this telephone pole saying, Crossan Park, turn left. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Because when
that
you
would
come around
definitely
this,
keep me from missing the turn.
I don't know where I am now.
You're heading south.
Yeah, I'm heading south, and here's part. So, like if you put it here, I think that's, or back behind me, that's better than here. But this is better than nothing, right?
Right.
So maybe we ask Jeff, how tough is it to put it where Paul is saying ahead of the intersection? Damn it.
No, I'm happy to figure that out and report back.
So
That would be
this
great.
this looks pretty wild right here. It's not like we're putting it on somebody's beautiful front lawn where they'll object to it, right?
Agreed.
There's a fence and some shrubs and bushes. So if we put it here, I don't think anybody would mind as much.
Clear cut that area.
right?
Yeah, and I know who owns that property with the fence, so I can always go talk to them too.
So with Paul Legacy's change, what do you guys think? Do you want to put him ahead of the intersection then?
I think on this side, and my only concern is the weedy part. If it gets overgrown, would it on the
No,
coming from Appleton?
they're required to mow,
The
you know,
The
this
state
6
does
foot.
mow that.
Yeah.
Well, if everyone's in agreement, let Jennifer send me that information and then I'll get some mock-ups. And then if Jennifer wants, or Paul and Jennifer want, whoever, we could go meet out at the corner and walk it off, and I can contact PennDOT if need be.
Okay, that'd be great.
All right. Now that we have that in mind, so Good Hope Road is a little bit slower, but do you want to do it ahead or just stick it on the sign? Because
Yeah, stick it on the sign works. It's visible enough there.
Right.
so right here is the Good Hope Road sign, but let me approach from this direction.
And they usually don't hit the sign, just the guardrail.
Right here. See that? We could put it there on both sides.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
okay?
that looks good.
And just keep in mind, this is out of Franklin Township territory, so we're now in London, Britain.
Yeah, but you
So
got
we have
friends
a-
in high places, Jeff.
No, we do. And, I think we can make it work, but it's just someone we'll have to contact and talk with.
Yeah.
I know one of the supervisors over there. I'm related to him.
Oh,
Is
wow.
that your sister?
My brother.
Joe-
yeah.
Oh, your brother. Okay.
Joe Ferguson's a good guy. He's the roadmaster there. So I think we can work something out.
Tell him he needs to fix his guardrail.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. Thanks for
Okay, and so we think, just real quick, Paul, so on top of that, definitely it's the smaller signs could go on top of those road signs. Is that, Jeff, like a typically smaller sign?
the one in your hand would probably work.
Okay, all right, so I will send that to Jeff and I'll work with Jeff and then,
What's the speed limit? Anybody know? Good Hope? Is that 35?
I think it's 35.
That's what I'm thinking off the top of my head.
It's not telling me speed limit.
40, I think, through there.
Paul, I travel that every day. I travel Good Hope and Parsons, so I can make a note of it tomorrow.
We don't want to know your speed, Jeff. 80 is not.
No, I know. I mean the actual speed limit, I promise.
All right. Anything else on that? All right. So I guess we'll move on to the healing gardens, which I got a bunch of information on those. So first I mentioned that I talked to North Creek Nurseries. They provided a quote for a variation of plugs, grass, and perennial native plants. That quote is still kind of up in the air, so it's nowhere near set in stone. Because I had one of the guys come out and actually take a look at the site, and after seeing it, he kind of saw that it's a little more shaded than what he came up with. So that quote, which again is still completely up in the air, was for $33.90, which averages to about $162 per plug per plant. Now, so I spoke with a couple other people as well. One, I've reached out to, his name is Eric Irvin, and he is the chair at the University of Delaware Department of Plant Sciences. And this could be a promising connection because he's actually working on, I know one of the biggest concerns besides the cost is going to be maintenance. So he's actually working on kind of establishing a pollinator patch that kind of rolls out like a turf grass type situation. So they're working on developing this kind of system that is easy to use, low maintenance, and it's just kind of like a turf rolling out grass type situation. So I actually spoke with his wife, who's a resident in the area, and she offered to volunteer. That's how I got the connection. And she actually mentioned that this could be used as kind of a research plot for him. And if that was the case, that he could pretty much do it with minimal to no cost to the township, which obviously is a big plus. So I'm gonna meet with them kind of in his, first she invited me to go look at their setup at University of Delaware, but apparently they're not letting people come because of COVID. So we're gonna set up a Zoom meeting and we're gonna kind of go from there with that. I did also get out there. There was there's a few weeds growing in there right in the plot, and one of the grasses was getting close to setting seed. So I kind of just trimmed all that stuff up just to get, I mean, it was literally like a 2x5 square area of just this grass. So I kind of just trimmed all that so we don't have more weeding to do when we actually get to the garden. So that's basically it, what I have for now as far as the healing gardens. Did anyone want to add anything in there?
I think it sounds great if this Delaware person can use it as experimental and, you know, makes it a little more interesting and helps with the maintenance.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, and then if we did, you know, add signage, that'd be kind of, like you said, a little more interesting, something that they're kind of developing with this pollinator patch rollout type situation. So
is that something that we would like advertise, like, and like we'd give advertising to be like, you know, we had talked about using businesses to advertise and some stuff, like if they're providing services?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're, because it's not like his business, you know, he's with the University of Delaware. I did mention that to North Creek about the advertising. They weren't too interested in, you know, having a sign that, because they do wholesale.
Okay.
So they're, you know, they're not really advertising to the public. But I mean, I did talk with the woman, her name's Stacy, about you know, putting a sign up that kind of explains what this process is. I'm still pretty unfamiliar with you know, what he's talking about as far as a pollinator patch that you can kind of roll out. So I'm hoping to get more information on that. But it seems promising. It seems like it'd be low maintenance, low cost, kind of what we're looking for. I don't know. What's that?
There's still going to be that cost to tear out all the old timbers that are in there, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I've walked through there a good amount of times and looked at those. A lot of those timbers are in good shape. There's a few that definitely need to be torn out and are completely deteriorated. But if we want to keep it, you know, the cost down, I would say
Keep the same shape.
Yeah, keep the shape and just replace some of those timbers. That would also help with not disturbing the soil and causing more weeds, that kind of issue.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know where you're going with the pollinator patch. Or
Yeah,
so,
I mean, my goal kind of was just to make it you know, a peaceful little garden, something that's easy to maintain, but also beneficial for environment. You know, I think there's a couple, it's basically like 2 hexagons with the path through there. So I was thinking, you know, maybe 2 small trees in the middle of those and then surround them with these little patches of grass mixed with perennial plants. So that's where we're at. I know Eli, I don't know if you got anywhere as far as reaching out to, I think you're reaching out to school.
Yeah, Linda LaFay, she's the director of branch and campus operations for DCCC. I sent her an email about a week before this one, reaching out. I got an automated response that she was on vacation for the week and won't be able to get back to me till next week. So next week came, I sent her out an email, haven't heard anything back, so I'll try again this week.
Okay.
So keep emailing until I eventually get something back.
Yeah, I figured, I mean, we just explore whatever opportunities that we can and see, what works the best for us.
Yeah, you figure with coronavirus being the way it is, dealing with schools, they probably have their hands tied at the moment trying to figure stuff out. But I'll do what I can to try to get a response out of them.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, so unless anyone else has anything else, I'll move on.
I have one suggestion. When we did the tree planting in Goodwin and I think Franklin too, it was paid for by Tree Vitalized through the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society.
I see.
I don't know if they'd be interested in donating some plants or funding or something. I don't know.
Okay, and who is that through, you said?
I'm drawing a blank, but it was Tree Vitalize, and it was overseen by the Jeff. Maybe you remember, was it Pennsylvania Horticultural Society or Philadelphia Horticultural Society?
I think it was the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society.
PHS, whatever that stands for.
Yeah, and I did send a message, and I never heard back from Pennsylvania Horticultural. So maybe I just didn't have the right contact or what.
Yeah, and I don't remember who our contact was, but they actually came out and counted the trees and made sure we actually planted them and didn't like sell them or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I think I did this, Greg, but did you get a chance to reach out to Shane Morgan? I thought I had said.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke with Shane, and she actually hooked me up with Bill Haldeman, who does natural land management. He used to work he was in charge of the land, the natural lands at Longwood Gardens, and he actually came out to the site, and he was full of information, but he wasn't, looking to, I guess, be a part of like the design or anything of it. He did mention he would, help if we needed help with pruning some of the shrubs and trees in there. But yeah, that's who. So Shane referred me to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but she was very helpful. And she had other ideas as far as, possibly funding through Wild and Scenic, I guess, which is like her organization, but we didn't get too deep into it. She just kind of referred me over. All right, so next was the dog park, or possibility of a dog park. I know it's kind of up in the air with whether or not we're still doing this. I was passed the information about just, to research it. So I just kind of looked at it as, I don't even have a dog, but I kind of just looked at it as, would it be useful? And since the last meeting, I spoke with Ken Batten, who is the township manager over at London Grove. And they're the ones who have Goddard Park. So he gave some good information about his experience with their dog park. A little bit of plus, a little bit of minus on it. He said it's used constantly, which, I can attest to, because I did used to have a dog, and we used to go up there, and very rarely was I the only one there with a dog. But he said maintenance is a big issue.
What is maintenance?
Well, as far as, the grass kind of gets all ripped out and turns to mud, and then, after rain, that kind of stuff. He said about half the people clean up the dog poop.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, and then he said other people will put the poop in the bag and then just leave the bag in there, or leave that on the ground. So, he said it's definitely a popular place for people to go. But yeah, he did mention that there are some issues. He said that they get a lot of complaints when they have to close it for, you know, to restore the grass, that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's just people complaining just to complain or what, but he said they get a lot of calls of people complaining. He said if he could redo it or do it over, he would kind of, right now they have 2 sections for big dog and small dog. He said he would actually, which seems, I mean, it's more fencing, but he said he would switch it to 4 sections. That way he could close off one, let it kind of rebuild, regenerate the grass and all that. And, you know, let people use the other one and kind of just keep rotating them.
Dog park?
I've never seen that, but that seems like,
Liability?
What's that?
Dog park, does that increase liability?
Yeah, that was another thing he said. He said to look at the insurance, but I think, Jeff, you did talk to somebody as far as the insurance, and it wouldn't raise our rates. Is that correct?
That's correct. I
Yeah.
spoke with Andrew Prospero of H.A. Thompson. You may remember the company, Paul.
Yeah.
So they wanted to have some input regarding the dog park rules, but I think they're nice enough to deal with. If we could give them an example of how high the fence would be, what it would be made out of, you know, they'll work with us. They're not looking to put us through the ringer with it. And he said, you know, as these things become more popular and more townships get them, he said if they have incidents of biting or whatever, he said that then that's when the rates would go up. But just because of us wanting it now and installing it, it would not be an increase.
And
and you think they just might have some input on the fence height? Is that what you're saying? The fence height?
Yeah, I mean, they're more like, show me what you want to do. And I think Paul and Greg like the idea of what Mr. Goen did on with his steers there on
Yes, yeah, we had talked about that.
on
I
Appleton
that
Road. And they're super, Andrew's super nice to deal with, so he's someone we can work with for sure.
gotcha. Yeah, so I did get some estimates as far as fencing. I've gotten one estimate. I met another guy out there just to get a second estimate. One was from J&A Fencing, and that was for a 5-foot tall fence, 3-rail post and board with a black vinyl wire. And that was completely installed. He estimated it. And as far as size, it's a little smaller than Goddard. It was about 175 by 175. He estimated that to be 12,210, and that was installed. I also talked to Esch Fencing, and
Right.
yeah, so they're just, I guess, the manufacturer of the fence. So they estimated just for the material only, if we were, because I know we discussed having possibly an Eagle Scout do the installation. So the estimate for just the material alone was 2,871. And that was, now both of those were just one big enclosure, not, you know, spaced out into 2 sections or more.
Is 5 feet what Goddard has? That seems high. That's a lot of fence.
I feel like a lot of people have 4 feet, but from
Yeah.
experience, dogs can jump 4 feet.
Right.
No, but I mean, at what point, you know, what do we do? So if your dog can jump 4 feet, then maybe that dog shouldn't be in the park. But 5 is, I don't think I've seen 5 feet in a dog park. That's really tall.
Yeah, I have to think that they're not 5 feet because they're not taller than me, and I'm just like 5'2". So, and the only thing to add, Greg, is that did you see Goddard just added sails like for shading?
I didn't hear you on the last part.
Did you see Goddard just added sunshades like the sails?
Yes,
So-
and he actually mentioned that.
But no, I wanted to ask just as a tag along to the healing garden, when Eric and my husband and I were there the other day, some of the trees along the healing garden might provide shade. So I didn't know if that would be,
Yeah,
we just use trees, and we had talked about planting trees, but I just wanted to just add that part about some of the healing garden trees. If you put a bench there, could
Yeah.
also provide shading to the dog park.
yeah, I did think of that, and when I walked it, kind of the entrance road has some taller trees that could also possibly provide some shade as well. But yeah, he mentioned the sunshades, and he said people really like those just because, you know, out in summer their dogs get all hot.
Yeah, the one dog park down in Rising Sun has them, but they also AstroTurf, and you know, it's a heck of a setup they put in for the doggies. But like I said, I go by there and don't see a lot of action. With this, I think I saw that the question about a dog park was added to the township survey. So I guess the big thing is wait and see what the response is there.
Yeah, that's it. I was gonna say the exact same thing. So they kind of made it just I think there was three answers, whether or not, you know, if you thought it was highly usable, or I'm not sure what the exact wording was. But yeah, I would say definitely
highly, somewhat, or I didn't have an opinion. And even
okay.
I who have a dog and want it, I couldn't say it's highly, like I was still somewhat. So
Right.
So like I really like the idea, but I couldn't say it like it's I have 3 acres, but you know, I couldn't even say highly. So I'm wondering how other people will react.
Yeah, I agree. So it's kind of going to be a vague response.
But I think you should just take it as positive versus negative. Don't worry about the degrees of positive.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I guess wait and see. I mean, there's no rush. I don't know how many people are going to dog parks during the COVID anyway. So yeah, I would suggest we just wait and see what the survey says and take it from there, I guess.
Yeah, but I still think instead of the 3-rail fence 5 feet high, you could cut your cost in half if we do what we said, that steer fencing, which is just a board on top, round posts, and 2x4 metal.
Okay. Yeah. When I met the guy, I basically told him that we wanted to keep the cost as low as possible. You know, I didn't want a high quality. Yeah, I just wanted to keep the dogs in and keep it, you know, keep the cost down. But yeah, I could go back and see what a 4-foot fence versus the 5-foot.
Well, I was going to suggest we measure Goddard height, right? And whatever they have.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, that's a big difference between $12,000 and then $2,800 just for materials.
Right. Yeah, it's about a little under 10,000 for installation.
That's a lot, I think, for installation.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Now I did, like I said, I did get another quote. They haven't come up with it yet, so I'm waiting to hear back on that one. So yeah, I'll go back to the first guy, J&A, and see, if there's any other material and.
No, so I suggest you decide on the material you want, and then you go to the companies and you ask for that specific material. Otherwise, you're bidding apples and oranges. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Is there any interest in just a chain link fence?
So that's one of the more expensive options, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it'd be less.
No, it's one of the more durable ones, though. Granted, right? But it's one of the more expensive options.
Yeah, I'm no expert on fencing.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until Paul mentioned that last time. I would have thought chain link's ugly, so it would be cheaper, but
right,
it's more material. Yeah,
you can definitely price it out, though. For sure. Ask them throw in a chain link option, see what that costs.
Gotcha. So as far as if I'm going to go back and ask for a different type of material, what do you recommend I ask for?
When we were at the township meeting. We were at the township building having our meeting. I pointed to the animal fencing at the end of the lot. It's a 4-foot high, 1x6 pressure treated board with the rails, just one rail on top. Posts are 8 foot on center, and it's called 2x4 no climb fence. And I don't know if there's a better name for that.
Would it be helpful, Greg, if I took a picture of it tomorrow morning and emailed it to you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
That's what most people use for horses. And I'm thinking if it's good enough for horses, it's good enough for dogs.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Anything else on the dog park? Okay.
Greg, before we go to new business, can I try to share my screen now for the mission
Yeah.
statement?
You go for it.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, so if everybody wants to read it and let me know what changes I should make.
This is kind of stupid, but it says to preserve, to maintain, and to improve. Do we need the to in there?
No, I added it. So originally when we mentioned it before, I had preserving, maintaining, and improving, but
Yeah.
it didn't work as right. So I can take it out. I didn't know if we wanted to be affirmative, but I don't mind taking it out.
So
I wasn't sure. I was going to give it the option.
I think we're a Parks, Recreation, Open Space Committee, not board. I'm not sure.
So the original, and I did have the same thing, and then my husband asked me when I asked him to read it yesterday, and I looked back at the original paper we got on May 22nd, and it said, Board of Supervisors meeting, the board appointed you to a 3-year term on the newly created Open Space Board. So I don't know, Jeff, if you know, but I think the ordinance says board.
Anybody have a copy handy?
Yeah,
I
board.
have a copy of the ordinance and it says board.
Okay, board it is. I'm bored.
Yeah, I was surprised too, because I thought it would be I thought at first it was like a committee of like just we're providing recommendations.
Yeah. So my only other comment would be it's one heck of a run-on sentence. If there's any way to break it into two, that might be helpful.
So it is the mission of the Parks Recreation Board in an effort it should be to
enhance the quality of our residents, period. And then start the next sentence.
Okay.
How about with a?
This will be accomplished.
Yeah.
By, and then this would be where the preserving, maintaining.
Yeah.
And then you can't have a second through, that you would change the second through to with.
Okay.
With community involvement and local government cooperation. How's that look?
This will
Doesn't have to be improving. It could just be improve.
should it be this will be accomplished?
This will be, okay.
I don't know. Be accomplished by.
Right, this will be accomplished by preserving,
Okay.
maintaining, and improving the parks, preserves, and open spaces of Franklin Township with community involvement and local government cooperation.
Close enough for government work.
Ha.
What?
Yeah, the only one thing I feel is left out is where is it that we're trying to preserve farmland? Like it.
And so the only thing, Paul, I was saying is like, I think right when we started is like, we're trying to preserve all this stuff, but like I looked up TED Talks, I looked up different like nonprofits, and they said to keep it as general as possible.
Yeah.
And like, if you start saying farmlands and you get somebody who's like, well, what about this, this, why are we preserving this? And why aren't we preserving this? So I'm not opposed to it. I just didn't want to keep adding different things and then make anybody mad. But I'm okay adding or. Do we want to think about it again another week or?
No, I'm fine. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle, I'm gonna, I'll email it to you, and then if you find any typos or anything, just let me know, and if we have to change it for typos.
All right, should we have this motioned? Since it's something we're adding?
Yeah, so let's make our first motion. So all in favor of this being our mission statement, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. There you go. All right. Anything else on that, or are we good there?
So just real quick, Craig, and not to drag this on, but as I'm looking at the ordinance as it's in front of me, I guess maybe I want to make sure this is the current ordinance or we have the right ordinance, because it just says Park and Recreation Board. It doesn't say Park, Recreation, and Open Space Board. So I guess I just want to make sure that the thing that was sent to me is the correct ordinance before I misspoke to Paul.
When was it signed, Jennifer?
2020-02.
Yeah. Did you say, I can't hear you, Paul.
2002?
Yeah,
That was the ordinance number, 2020-02.
I was
I
talking
thought-
to my wife, so that's why you didn't hear me. She wanted to know if I made dinner yet.
So I guess the only thing I just wanted to say is it says Park and Recreation Board. And so now did I make it, because the ordinance doesn't actually say open space.
The ordinance I have for saying for 2020 establishing this, which was done in May, at the header, it says a park, recreation and open space board.
Yeah, that's what the O in pro is.
Yeah.
Right, so,
So we're good with the board, open space.
okay, so but do you see section 1? It just says creating and governing a park and recreation board. If you look at section 1.
Governing a park, recreation and open space board.
Oh, so mine does not say that.
Mine does.
In section 1 on page 1?
What? Well, who's got the most recent one?
Mine's from May.
Jim, yours is from May of this year?
Yeah, 20th of May.
And Jennifer, what's yours dated?
Mine says 2020-02. It is not signed, though.
So that's
On the
it.
second page, it would say enacted.
Yeah,
Or actually, the third page.
So on the county, or I'm sorry, the township website, it says Parks, Recreation, Open Space Board meeting.
okay.
It's what it says on the
I just want to
website.
make sure that I had the right ordinance. So if at some point I just don't have I must have the original ordinance before it got enacted.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But we're good with board and open space and I don't have to change any of that. Okay. Thank you. All right. And I'm going to stop sharing and then I'll email this to Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So new business. We had another Eagle Scout reach out. His name's Ryan. And I provided him with a few ideas. One was the dog park. Another was the tree planting that we discussed, I believe at the last meeting. And then I also mentioned possibly installing some bird boxes, bluebird boxes in the meadow area over at Crossan Park. So he expressed some interest in doing possibly the native tree planting, which we said installation of about 12 trees, or doing the bluebird boxes, which, you know, constructing and installing bluebird boxes. We haven't met or anything. He reached out as far as walking Crossan Park to see where we would install the trees. But he hasn't gotten back as far as getting that scheduled.
There's in the back, the boardwalks that were installed by the Eagle Project last year or whatever.
Yeah.
I understand with our last torrential downpour, they went surfing and they're all piled up. So that could be a possible Eagle project to rebuild that.
Okay.
So,
I don't think that would qualify though, Jim, as repairing an existing issue.
well, it's community service. and something that does. So from an Eagle, it's borderline, but it's possible from the Eagle projects that I've seen and been involved with. So because it's definitely something that's not going to take 5 minutes to do. And some of these boards, the decks may have to be rebuilt again. I don't know how beat up they might have got, but because I haven't been down there yet. But
So, well, wait, let's get back to the proposal of the trees. So if he goes for the trees, these have to be significant trees, like 2-inch diameter or something, not, 1 foot tall saplings, right? This is
Right.
because to plant 12 saplings, that doesn't really qualify as a project. But
no,
if he's got to dig a hole and buy a 1.5 or 2-inch diameter tree, that's significant because they're 10 or 12 feet high. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for little teeny things.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if 12 will qualify. We could throw in a few extra if he needs more. But in the bird boxes, you need a significant number for him. It can't be just like 6 or something. It's got to be, and maybe it's bird boxes and bat houses, or, you have to try to, I think, make it a little more challenging so it qualifies as a project. But don't we have an Eagle Scout? Who's our Eagle Scout here?
Right here.
Yeah, what do you think? What's your judgment on that, what I'm saying?
Yeah, it should be, at the least a day's labor for the installation or a bit more. It definitely should be more in the substantial side.
Yeah, but not a day for one individual, right? It's a day labor for like a group.
Yeah, a whole entire, when I put in the benches and I did the beautification for the Kemblesville Elementary School, I had a whole bunch of scouts who had volunteered, as long as also with some adults as well. So I think in total we had about 10 to 12 people over there working maybe 6 to 7 hours.
yeah.
Now,
The key to Eagle projects, and Eli touched on it, is the planning. It's the manpower. It's in Eli's case, he was the project manager, and he didn't have to work that day. He had to instruct everybody how to work, and that's the key. Building a team, something that's going to take 20, 30 hours or 100 hours. A 5-hour Eagle project isn't approved. Wouldn't be approved.
Now, what if, is that just the installation? Because if he's constructing the Bluebird boxes as well, that's going to definitely take some time to come up with that.
Yeah. Again, the key to an Eagle project is getting a group involved, not a
Right.
single person. And
And
some of
funding.
the projects that have crossed my desk in the troop, and we just said, no, not involved enough. And building a couple of birdhouses isn't involved enough. I know some owl boxes have been done in the past and put into Franklin. I heard about it, and it wasn't in my troop. It's surely something that probably wouldn't have been approved in my troop. Something that simple.
Well, the owl boxes are pretty significant. It's like a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot box. It's pretty big, and you have to hang them like 20 feet in the air or something. So they were more work than a bird box, but and I think he did a couple of them, not just one. Anyway,
Still haven't seen any owls in them. I was hoping, but
yeah. So is there any other? I think, Greg, your point was, are there any other projects that we can offer or that we're missing?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. So it sounds like we basically would kind of steer him towards the tree planting unless there's other stuff going on. He unfortunately, go ahead.
I had offered, because the boardwalks down there float away, and remember I had said we would do a different design where we do a stone walkway with the leftover millings from the roads to put down 2 4x4s and put the stones between them. That I think would be a good Eagle Scout project. A lot of labor.
So that's redoing those walkways you're talking about, or?
No, it's in addition to those walkways in different areas. The walkways were only 100 feet. We need like, 1,000 feet of trail down there.
Okay, so basically adding more trail.
Yeah, but
Are you
then,
talking about down by the creek in Crossan?
yeah,
Talking about?
yeah. the floodplain down there, the wetlands. It's just really unwalkable most times of the year. So Jim brings up a good point, though. It is a mess down there. All those boardwalks washed up. And so, you know, we as the Parks Committee need to figure out a suggestion for fixing that. We can go down there ourselves, have a work day. We can ask the FSA to help, or we can ask the township to pay Yard Works to go do it, or maybe contact the Boy Scout who did it and see if he's interested in fixing it.
I know at the FSA, we talked about it briefly, and the general consensus to do it, you might need some heavier equipment to pick them up and or at least get them moving and dragging them back to where they need to be to put the puzzle together.
Well, they're all meant to be lifted by Boy Scouts, so they're all made out of 2x4s, and they're only about 12 feet long, so it's not really that heavy. It's only 2x4 construction. There's nothing big in there, no big timbers.
Okay.
So 2 people can easily carry one, and I think there's a total of 12 sections. Maybe 16 sections. I don't remember. But yeah, no heavy equipment needed for sure, Jim. But I would suggest whoever puts them back, we require that they spike them in.
Yeah,
So
they
they don't
weren't.
float away again, right? Use some rebar to put spikes through them. Something's got to be different.
All right.
Does anybody have any thought on it? Because it's a mess down there.
I haven't seen it personally, so I can't speak directly of options.
Is Jeff still on the line?
I am here, sir, and to be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to look at it either, other than the pictures that the FSA took.
Right, okay. All right.
I'd imagine like a good place to start would be seeing if the person who did it would have any interest in helping rebuild it.
Yeah, I like that idea. And
Yeah.
it says Troop 191 on the sign, but I don't remember if there's a name. Does anybody know if there's a name on that sign?
I
Or-
think there was a gentleman, a young man by the name, I may have it wrong, I think it was Austin Gatos, who lives in Crossan Estates. I think that's who did that.
Yeah, and that was his Eagle project. He's probably out of the troop now and in college and not in town, unfortunately.
That's a good point, but maybe we
But
could.
we could reach
contact
out to
him.
the troop and
Yeah,
Paul, I do think there is a name on there because that's how I knew it was an Eagle Scout project.
yeah, I remember he thanked many businesses, but I didn't remember his own name on there. So anybody have a contact in 191?
I'm sure I could track some down.
Was that your old troop?
No, I was 30 in West Grove. I am 30 in West Grove.
My son is in 191, but as a Cub Scout, so I don't know the Boy Scouts actually. So
All right.
Jim, are you going to take that, Jim?
Yeah, I'll work with Jeff on it and see what we can come up with.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so moving on.
Yeah, because one more comment on that. To me,
Yeah.
that's like a more urgent fix. Like all the other projects are future, would be nice to have, but we've got a big mess at the bottom of our park and we don't have a plan for it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys were included on that email. I think Jeff found this Pico Green Region Open Space Program. So basically, it's I'll read it, what it says. It says Pico has committed to supporting municipalities, recreational authorities, and nonprofits in southeastern Pennsylvania with their ongoing efforts to preserve, protect, and improve public spaces. Pico designed the Pico Green Region Open Space Program to assist local communities in these efforts by providing funding for some expenses not otherwise covered by state and county programs. So Seems like a program that we could possibly get some funding. It's PICO and they're partnering with Natural Lands. And it's a grant that's, I guess it says it will be awarded in amounts up to $10,000 and may be used to fund up to 50% of a project. So it's definitely something I think we should at least explore, you know, to help with any of these projects that we're talking about. The application deadline is October 31st. So I haven't gone into exactly see what projects they would approve, but it seems like something that could definitely be of use to us. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if anyone knows anything more about that program.
Yeah, it's a good program. We've been awarded it maybe half a dozen times over the years. And
Okay.
we had a awesome grant writer named Phil Gagan that he was really the key to getting our grants successfully.
Nice. What's he doing these days?
I don't know. I lost touch with him.
Oh man.
But he's the one that the trail's named for on the Ford farm. That's the Gagan Trail.
Okay.
So
I've never heard of the Pennsylvania Greenway projects.
what's
They
that?
have Pennsylvania Greenway. It goes through many states, but they have funding for grants up to like $250,000 for a project. So it's just another place that you could look to get funding for things. Yeah.
It's called Pennsylvania Greenway.
It's Pennsylvania Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program.
Okay. Well, that's something we definitely would be worth looking into as well.
I think that's the one we apply for open space preservation, but I'm not sure. But the PICO one is just trying to get small projects. It's from the electric company, right? They're just trying to get small projects, feel good projects in the community, like installing a playground or changing a brown lot into a baseball field for the local kids, that type of stuff.
Could we use this to help fund the healing gardens, or do you think that's going to wind up?
Yeah, you could fund it for the healing gardens. You might try for the dog park. I was thinking of putting in that Bamshire Bridge that I'm working on. Put in a request for that. That would score well, actually.
Did that money already get approved though from the board?
It did, but it doesn't matter that it's approved by the board.
And then we could just use that money for something else, or hopefully the board would give us money for something else.
No, I don't know if it works like that, but yeah. But it is a good question.
I definitely think the Bamshire thing or like the healing gardens, like two current things would be nice to be able to, because you guys already have worked a lot of the details out.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to have your ducks in a row and a solid plan. Like if you have a wishy-washy plan, they won't award it.
Yeah, and I don't think we're that close on the dog park yet, but it sounds like you're closer with Bamshire Park.
Oh, but you've got till October. There's time.
Yeah, or a close second would be the healing gardens.
And I can't remember if I sent this to you, Paul, or I may have sent it to you too, Greg. There's a young lady at Natural Lands Trust who oversees this grant, and she's more than happy to talk to anyone.
Yeah, she can give you suggestions on what projects might score better.
Right. And I had talked to a higher up within PICO, and he was of the same mind as Paul that the Banffshire Bridge would probably score rather well.
So, it's a competitive grant. More people apply than they have funding for. And so they like to spread the money around. So they don't like to give out $10,000 at a time. They like to give out the $2,000 or $3,000 ones so they can spread out the love further. But we'll see. We could. I'm not a good grant writer though, so that's the big problem. You need someone to write it all up and apply for it.
When written grants before?
What's that, Mary?
I asked if anyone has written grants before. No.
I have not.
Yeah, I
No.
haven't either.
Well, the thing might be too is see if someone can reach out to Phil Gagan and see if that's something he's interested in, because
Is
he was
still
a
around?
valuable resource.
Is he still around? Joe?
I believe he's still, I can't remember if it's Belmont or Preakness, Paul. I believe he still lives there.
Yeah,
Was it Southview Estates, I think?
yeah.
Well, does anyone want to maybe try to get a hold of him, or is that not an option?
I'll make myself a note to try and get that accomplished.
All right. Okay. So next, I thought of this after I sent out the agenda. But DCNR sent a message regarding their grant, I guess that was already provided for us. And I guess there was some questions with the supervisors. Basically, they were saying that all space that they've provided grants for is expected to have public access. And the question was regarding whether Franklin Preserve really has that much public access. So just kind of wanted to make you guys aware that that was a concern. I don't know if there's any input. I know kind of when you pull up to that spot where the pipeline, Colonial Pipeline, there's a sign that just says private drive, no trespassing, which isn't very welcoming to people.
No, but wait, we do not want people to go in that driveway. That's not appropriate, right? That's
Yeah. So I don't know if
Can I
we
just
need.
ask what you're talking about, which driveway?
so. I can show you.
Is it on Walker?
It's on Parsons.
Parsons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we in the beginning decided that we would access Franklin Preserve from Goddard Park. Like the pipeline company owns that driveway, and we don't want to try to get people in.
You said
anywhere
Goddard,
near
you
that
mean
pipeline.
Crossan Park? Like access it from Crossan Park?
What I say, Goddard? Sorry.
I always do.
It's a really far walk. I was trying to bring up my screen at the same time I was talking, and that never works. So this doesn't have the property lines, but so here's Crossan. Everybody with me? Right, here's our fields and the long driveway going down, and the park goes across the stream up to the vineyard right here. So this is Crossan Park. Oops. This is Crossan Park. And right beside it, just a little bit smaller, is Franklin Preserve. Here's the pumping station. We don't own that, but we own 3 sides of it. And so the idea was, this is a very long contiguous border here between this park and this preserve. And you would just park in the existing parking lot here or here, and you can access it this way. They're right. There isn't much access, but just in the last 6 months, that local mountain biking club has started doing trails, and their first trail goes from here down by the bridge through the preserve in one loop, and it meets back at this parking lot, and a second loop goes up and stops at the pipeline and accesses the road. So we have 2 loop trails already there. And their plan is to do a third one that crosses out into this meadow up along this is an old road right here. Comes up the road all the way back to the pipeline like that. Or even further up to this parking lot, right? I walked it with them. We laid out where it would go. I like it. That's not built yet though. So to answer the DCNR, we have 2 trails in and a third one planned.
Nice.
Right here is a stream. The stream comes from here and goes all the way down. And that's our first Eagle Scout project, is to bridge that stream. that's why the trails don't go anything past the woods, because you have to bridge the stream.
Gotcha. So it sounds like we're covering that concern.
Yeah, you can pass the red face test, but we can do a better job of it. How's that?
Right. Okay.
Right. But that's a huge requirement. They preserve this for public, and we need the public in there. And so when I tried to put a parking lot in Bamshire, it was like pulling teeth. You know, the neighbors didn't want it. They don't want people driving over there, but you have to provide access for these preserves.
Right. So is that just so I know, that wooded area, is that like once the woods start, is that Franklin?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the main driveway in Crossan, and
Right.
the wooded tree line divides Crossan from Franklin.
Okay.
All we have to do is step in off the road through the briars and they're in Franklin. So it's
Right.
access anywhere along there, wherever they want to walk in. Just have to avoid the briars.
So Jeff, on the township website, where's the picture? Oh, here they are. Is there one for Franklin? Oh, this is exactly the map you guys need to see right here. How do I open it? Well, you can just imagine it.
Maybe if you click on where it's at, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. So is that a little more helpful? So here's Parsons
Yeah.
Road, here's the bathrooms, and you can see the white line is the Franklin Preserve. It goes around the pumping station. And you can see the stream I was talking about. And then you can see Crossan Park goes all the way across the stream to the vineyards. So this is 125, this is 92 acres. So Crossan's a little bit bigger.
Nice.
And the preserve, that's where the FSA hunts and they kind of do a lot of, like they maintain that, or?
I'll let Jim talk, but I don't think they've done any maintenance projects in there, but there's nothing really for them to maintain because there's no trails or anything to do, right?
Yeah, it's one of the Hawkins mow it, right? Isn't that who it is?
No, it's Kenny Roberts.
Okay. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
they
they're
just
not involved in anything with the trail, like they don't have to do any of the trails back and forth. How does FSA get into the preserve?
They just park in this lower parking lot and walk in, I guess, or they drive into the pipeline. Jim, how do you guys-
park in the lower parking lot of the park and walk in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like gate across that one road to go into the preserve. I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
the access road, but it's gated off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gated
so-
and locked.
Yeah.
So to get to the pumping station where this yellow line is a driveway, but it's gated off because the driveway belongs to the pumping station. And we don't want to encourage people to go near the pumping station. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a parking area or driveway in the preserve. But I don't think we need it. I mean, we have 3 parking lots in Crossan, right?
Yeah.
That are right next to the border, 1, 2, and 3. I think that's plenty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Is there any argument? I mean, I know the biking club is making more trails, but is there any argument that there should be a more substantial trail from Crossan Park into Franklin Preserve? Like a more walkable trail than just for bikes?
No, it's very walkable. Like their trail is absolutely walkable, and I wouldn't say it's just for bikes. We made it clear to them it's for everybody. But
Okay, I just hadn't been down there in a while. I've been mostly doing the trails in Crossan.
Yeah.
My terrible fear of poison ivy, I didn't venture that far.
well, it's heavily wooded, and so there's not much underbrush. So it's actually a nice walk. So I
Okay.
suggest you try it.
Okay, and I did see where there was the opening of the trail where they had the FSA, the sign that I was
Yes.
Jim that got hit by the BB guns, but
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, it's not very clear on this map. It's a little bit more clear here. That's from this parking lot. There's that
Yeah.
entrance. But if you go in there, one loop goes north and one loop goes south. So you can go either way.
Are the
But-
trails marked?
No, not at all. So that's one of the Eagle Scout projects I threw out there for the last Eagle Scout, but he didn't go for that one.
and that's one of the initial things Kyle had talked about was more signage in the park for the trails.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And we had said we need a map. Did Jeff, did you get the map hung by the bathrooms? At least we have a map of the park.
It wasn't there last week.
I have not put it up, but can you go back, Paul, to the other maps, please?
Oh,
Can
apparently
you
I
bring-
can't.
Can you,
There. Can you see it or did I stop sharing?
I think you stopped sharing.
I have too many things open.
Because I think I saw it briefly. If you could bring it up, I can show everyone.
I'm really trying. So the problem is my menu is in the way of where I'm trying to share. I have to open it again, I think. Okay, what do you want to see?
No, I was going to say, can you go back to the other options that show the other maps? I saw it before you selected this one. At least I think I saw it. Can you
Yeah,
zoom back?
Yeah,
Look,
there's,
look to the right.
yeah, this one.
Yep, that one.
Yeah, this needs to be posted at the bathrooms.
We can put that on the bulletin board, sure.
Yes, that's,
We had
And is-
talked about it a couple weeks ago. It wasn't there last week, but I just didn't know if we were
Jeff-
trying to get it printed bigger.
as big as you can, Jeff, like 24 by 24, 24 by 36, I mean.
Okay, right now, Paul, we're limited to 11 by 17 until we get our plotter fixed.
What happened to the plotter? Ah,
I
Well-
don't know. It's to the point we have to call a service man in, but
well,
I
let's
can at
let's
least
get
do
the,
11 by 17.
get the 1117 and then put it on your list that when you get a plotter back, make it as big as the bulletin board allows. I think it's only a 3 foot by 4 foot bulletin board, so whatever.
Yeah,
Jeff, is it possible to put the one map to the left on one 11 by 17 and the other one on 11 by 17, like split it up?
you've got that bar in the middle. Oh,
Put the detail map on one 11 by 17 and put the other one on 11 by 17?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
well, we'll see what we can do. Right
Okay.
now, it's a single, that's a, I believe, a JPEG. So
Okay.
we'll see what we can do.
So here, someone who walks these trails? Kyle, I think you're the walker. I forget, but this trail is kind of phony baloney. This doesn't really do this. So everything is paved, making these big, nice gray loops. See all the gray? So I would suggest a future improvement project because you see the walkers on all this gray. But when you get to here, it stops and turns to mud over to here. I would want to pave this one link right here and make it more walkable through the woods. So that when,
Can you just move up a little bit, Paul? So where is the bridge that's over by the, like, down in the woods? That's okay. So that's what we've been walking down there, and the kids have been hanging out down in the, we take the dog down to the creek.
and right at the bridge, if you made a right, this is where the Boy Scout walkway washed away.
Yeah, it looks, with all the boards and stuff.
Yes, but this, what I'm suggesting between the two parking lots, makes a huge loop. All this becomes one big loop, and people like to walk in loops rather than dead end and back, right?
Right.
So this would be a nice section to pave. Next time you're doing a walk, take a little shortcut through here and see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. I'm sorry I stole your meeting again, Greg. Go ahead.
No, you're good. The only other thing, and that just came up at the beginning of this meeting, was you mentioned the spotted lanternflies when you were trimming down the tree in there, Jim. And I just wanted to clarify with the trap, Jeff, what type of traps are, if you're putting those traps, what exactly are you putting? Because those spotted lanternflies are everywhere, and it's kind of a losing battle if you're putting those.
Agreed. These were donated to us, I think, through the Conservation District or someone else. But if you can imagine, Greg, it looks like a screen. And what you do is you tie it to the tree. The lanternflies come up in the screen and then they get captured in this little plastic bag.
Okay, so it's not the sticky tape that a lot of people are doing.
Hazardous to birds and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's what I just wanted to clarify, make sure we're not doing more damage than we're doing good with. Okay.
Now, and we believe it or not, we actually deployed one of those out on the Gagan Trail. So I'm hoping tomorrow or the next day, I've got time to go out and see how successful it was.
Yeah. Well, I've noted there's definitely a lot of Tree of Heaven down in Crossan Park, down near that bridge that we were talking about, where the Boy Scouts project was. So that's where you're going to find them all. I mean, the majority of them, that's their favorite tree to visit. So what's that?
What kind of tree?
It's called the Tree of Heaven. It's I think the Latin term is Alanthus, but it's an invasive tree, so it's already a bad tree. And I mean, it's their favorite tree. It's not a host tree, so they don't need that tree to survive. But for some reason, that's you know that tree because you'll see hundreds of them on there. The leaves kind of look like a black walnut, but it's slightly different.
The one that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The one that we spotted, I don't know what kind of tree it is, Greg, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But there seemed like there were multiple hundreds on this tree, and they stretched up about 15 feet.
Wow.
And the amazing thing I saw around the bottom of it, it's like a white, sticky goo mess.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing too yesterday.
And that's actually what does the damage to the tree. It's not that, because they kind of like feed on the nutrients of the tree, but it's their waste product that actually damages the tree. And that's what you're seeing.
No wonder it smells so good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're nasty little things.
They're quick too.
Yeah, they are quick. And the bigger they get, the farther they can jump and fly. All right, well, that was basically it, unless anyone else had any new business.
I have a question. Did anybody else get an email from John Alderbach?
Yes.
Yes.
What does I'm just questioning what it means, really.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up because I didn't really know what he was wanting from us or wanted to do about that.
I don't know, you could ask him, but I don't know who he sent it to because it's blind carbon copy, but what I expect is he just sent it to everybody on the distribution of the township. It was his writings or musings from when he was the Board of Supervisors chairman on how much open space costs the township and how much we spent on it and how much development there's been. And the current chairman removed it from the website, and I think he felt he didn't like that. So he was just trying to distribute the information as wide as possible.
Got it.
It's a political thing that I don't think we need to get involved in.
Fair enough.
I'd like to make one comment, if I might.
Sure.
When the map gets put on the bulletin board, if we could add a QR code again to that map, on the corner of that map, and I'd be happy to help with that.
Oh yeah.
That's a very simple thing. It would allow people to essentially download the map automatically to their phones so that they would not need to rely on their memories, which mine is definitely not that good.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before, Paul. It's a great idea. I forgot about that.
Idea. Yeah.
How about if I email you the map tomorrow, Paul?
Yeah, sure. It's a JPEG file.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can edit it and I'll put it in a discrete corner. It should not be a problem. And
so how about this though? The township website is being revitalized in a few months.
Right.
Will your link change? Like, will the QR code go to the wrong place?
That's a really good question, Paul. I would, I guess that's a question for
The webmaster?
Mary and Donna, who are working on that.
How about this? How about we just let Jeff throw up the 11 by 17s because that can be quick. And then you get
Right.
the QR code when we get a bigger map in the new website.
Yeah, we could do that, or I can do it pretty quickly and it'll be up there and it can be swapped out.
Okay, sure.
nothing
Yeah,
else.
It's easy to do. It's easy to
Yeah,
do.
it's very easy to do. It's not a big deal. I've done it for other things. And also, just for what it's worth, the Ailanthus tree happens to be the tree that grows in Brooklyn. If you're familiar with a tree grows in Brooklyn.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a very tough tree, originally from China. It is invasive.
Yeah,
But,
smell too.
but there is an old, I think it's a short story. It may be a short novel called
It's a
Tree
novel.
Grows in Brooklyn.
One of my kids is reading it now. They just got it.
Right. So
book.
that's the Ailanthus tree. It's a tough tree that will grow where very few other things. It's pollution tolerant. That's why it was planted in the cities.
When I lived in
Hmm.
Baltimore City, they had a lot of them. It would grow in all the gardens. It was
Yeah.
it was a weed, but it was the only tree you had, so you took it.
Right. Exactly. Which is why the title is The Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
It's very I love that because one of my kids is reading it. I can't wait to tell them that little story now.
I actually just heard, I think the spotted lanternfly has made it to New York State, so they're
We'll
they're
have
also,
plenty
they
to
might
eat.
be in Brooklyn too.
Yes.
All right. Anything else anyone had? All right, so I guess we, if there's any other public comment, because we had that in the itinerary here. So no other public comment?
And then Greg, at this meeting, it says 9/4 meeting with Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't print out that page. Yeah. Yeah, so Nancy Moschel set up a meeting with Jack from Natural Lands. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. That's going to be this Friday. I'm sure you're welcome to join. And we're just going to kind of more of a just acquaintance, get to know each other. I mean, they have their.
Who is Nancy Moschel again?
She's one of our supervisors. I think she's the chair.
That's Nancy Morris.
Same person.
Oh, it's
It's
just a type. Is it just a typo?
No, it's
No.
Nancy Moschel Mars.
I think it's her maiden name mixed in there.
Oh,
Okay.
so what's the actual correct way to?
I think she's Nancy Morris.
I think that's her married name.
Okay.
So I was getting them confused because I kept saying Nancy Morris and you guys kept saying Nancy Moschel, but on the website it says Nancy Morris. So that's why I was confused last week.
It's the same
All right.
person.
Okay.
Got
All right. Thank you.
Just call her Nancy.
Nancy. Okay.
Nancy.
But I kept thinking maybe there was this other Nancy person you guys were meeting with and I didn't know about.
No, so Nancy set up this meeting,
Okay.
and yeah, so Natural Land's a great organization. They have Peacedale Preserve in our township, and I wanted to actually talk to them similar regarding the information about their meadow maintenance. I spoke with the preserve manager actually years ago, and they said they were going to actually slowly stop because they're doing the similar thing where they're mowing the entire meadow. So years ago they said they were going to start phasing that out and going to a rotational mowing. So that's just one of the questions I was going to go, ask him and see where they're going with that.
Are you meeting over at the
We're actually meeting at Crossan at the lowest pavilion, and that's Friday. Let me see what time. I think it's at 10. Friday at 10 o'clock at the lowest pavilion at Crossan.
Okay. I might be able to make it, but I just was curious.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you're welcome to join. So I think that's all I had. I didn't have my other sheet. Did you see anything else there?
No, it just said the public comment that you had mentioned.
Okay, yeah, so that was basically it as far as I had. Any other input or anything?
Can I just ask Kyle, did you get my email about the? Sorry.
Yes, I
Okay.
got it.
And Jeff, I will email you about the signs.
Thank you.
Is there an email
great.
with the Pico information in it?
Yeah, I can, if you didn't get that.
I might have.
Okay, well, I'll forward it to everyone in the group again.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
I missed
Yeah.
that. What are you emailing, Greg?
I'm gonna forward that Pico Green Region Open
Okay.
Space.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that once I get off this call. All right, well, unless that's it, anything else? All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right,
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
all right, thanks,
All right.
guys. Talk to you soon.
All
All right, take
Bye.
care.